So welcome everyone, welcome back. And how was everybody's last 24 hours? How was everything going? Was good. Well, I think what I'll do, I know, I feel like a dentist right now because I'm asking you all how it went, and then
everybody knows how that's going to work out if we all start talking at the same time.
Yeah, and then I'm stopping you from speaking. Okay, so I'm going to mute all first. I'm going to get the instruments out of your mouth before asking you the question. Right. Okay, so let's go around and find out how everybody's doing. So, Boguslawa, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I was working on my superpower. I wanted back that feeling, and I said, okay, I have to change some memories, so it's going to be back and forth quicker. Yes. And I was working, and then the memory was hard to change, kind of didn't want to change much, and I a little bit stopped, and I have the song, Love My Life, here.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I start to sing it, and I start to feel good, and I start to feel more powerful, and I say, oh, this is awesome.
Good.
So I'm good.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so glad. Good job, you. Well done.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yay. And thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful to hear. Thank you. And going on to Katrina. Hi, Katrina. Good morning. You look particularly beautiful today, I have to say. I mean, you always look lovely, but you look particularly lovely today.
That's amazing. Well, the hair is right back, and I thought it was too severe, but because I normally have a fringe.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever you've done, it suits you and you look lovely.
Oh, thank you, Odille.
You're welcome.
I have to say thank you. Normally it is, oh, you need a pair of glasses.
Yeah. I used to have that as well. So whenever somebody complimented me, I always said, I would bat it back to them. Don't send me any compliments, because I was really uncomfortable. And it's amazing once you start just going, thank you. You know what somebody actually pointed out to me once that made the difference for me? Is someone said, when someone compliments you, it's like they're giving you a gift. And if you reject the compliment or excuse it or in any way, it's like it's going, I don't want your gift, thank you. You could take it back. And that made a huge difference to me. Whereas if you say thank you, it makes them feel nice because they've given you something. So that made a shift in my head back then.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree.
And how are you doing today?
Yes, everything is still good. Everything's still good. I didn't my rock and roll thing with Robbie Williams song.
Yes.
I didn't do it. For some unknown reason, I don't like him, so I thought, I'm not listening to
him. Fair enough.
Maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I picked out, so I didn't sing it, to everybody singing it and me singing it, and thought, no, I can't do this. And but I did pick out 5, the wee lines.
Yes.
And I believe them to be true, so I'm going to say them now.
Good.
Which is, I love my life, I am free, I am magical, I am powerful, and I am me.
Very, very good. Perfect. Yes, excellent. And then just use those to remind yourself of who you really are.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful, Katrina. And thank you for sharing that as well, because that's useful for others as well to be able to do that. It's a very good idea. Yeah. Fantastic. Yay. Thank you. And well done. Good job. All right. And then we're going to go on to Kara. Hi, Kara. How are you today?
I am much better.
Oh, good. Oh, good, good, good.
Yes.
Lovely.
I sent the song to my children.
Yes.
And that was nice. And I really had a shift from yesterday. I want to thank everyone.
Good. Oh, good. You're very welcome.
I feel like I really had a shift. And it's funny, I was talking to a woman on Facebook she's a Facebook friend, but I don't really know her.
Uh-huh.
And her mom had recently passed. And I really didn't address that or anything. We were just having a conversation. And this morning she said she insists on sending me some money for the Reiki session. And
Wow.
I didn't do any Reiki. And she said, now don't decline, because you'll block prosperity for both of us. And I said, well, how can I refuse then? When you said,
That's right.
I thought that was a good tactic to get somebody not to refuse.
Yeah, that is wonderful, Carol. Well done. And well done, not just for accepting that, but well done also for doing whatever you did inside you that allowed that opened you up for that to happen, you know. So obviously, as you know, you created that, and that's fantastic. Well done. So proud of you and so excited for you. And thank you for sharing it as well, because obviously, you know, whenever any of you share these you know, insights and experiences, and that, of course, it's inspiring and encouraging everyone else as well, that it's, you know, things are possible. Yay for you. And any questions for today?
No, not that I can think
of. All right, very good, thank you. And Carrie, good morning, Carrie. How are you today?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good, I'm very good, thank you. And do you have any questions for today, or any comments, or?
Yes, I was wondering, how do you sustain that feeling of unconditional love all day?
Good question. Sorry, love.
I'm sorry, hold on a second.
It's all right.
There we go. Because I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, because I have noticed that I can do it with my eyes closed, but God forbid I open my eyes, and like, God forbid I move my body a little bit.
Okay. Okay, so, sorry.
And then I lose the feeling.
Okay, so and that's normal. For, you know, it's part of developing the ability, and the key is to start practicing it just little by little. So take smaller steps. So you get into it, so you can do it with your eyes closed and being still, and then try just opening your eyes. And as you open your eyes, see if you can maintain that state. And as soon as you lose the state, close your eyes again and go back to it. And do that until, so keep doing that until you're able to open your eyes and maintain that state. And you can use, an object in your environment if you like to, as if you're aiming it at that, like as if you've got like a torch or a water gun or something, and so you're aiming it at a particular object. So let's say you're sitting at your dining room table or wherever, and there's a coffee mug. So have your eyes closed, get into that feeling, make it really strong, and then open your eyes slowly, looking at your coffee mug, and see if you can keep that going while you look at the coffee mug. And then once you're able to do that, and each time you can't, that's okay. Just close your eyes again, get back into it. Remember, this is like reps of lifting light weights to build your muscle, to build that stamina, that strength. So do little bits at a time. And then once you can do that, then try aiming at something else. And just build on it until you're able to do it sitting still with your eyes open. Then you do it with your eyes closed again, get into it again, and just move one part of your body, just something, even if it's just a finger or a toe, and maintain it. And again, build on that. And once you're able to move more easily while maintaining that state, then you can combine the two of opening your eyes and moving. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Very good. Very good. So building. Good job, sweetheart. That's fantastic. It's good that and thank you for mentioning that, because again, you won't be the only one. I'm sure there are others who needed to hear that as well. So very good. Thank you. And hi to your daughter.
Yeah, say hi, Alice.
Hi. She's lovely. All right. Very good. And now, Caro. Good morning, Caro. How are you today?
Hello. I'm good, and you?
Very good, thank you. Do you have any questions today?
Not really. No.
All right, very good. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
All right, and then we're on to, who else is on camera? Oh, Wanda. Sorry, I couldn't see. There you are. Hey, how are you today?
Good.
I love that yellow. The yellow of that top you're wearing is beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. So first I want to apologize for yesterday because I got disconnected. I was so close to my computer and I got scared that I will be disconnected from my job.
Oh,
and then so then I move away and say, I'm not going to try. I'm going to try it in a different room today.
Right.
So apologize for that.
That's
I went in and out. And I haven't listened to the recording for yesterday either.
It's not up yet. So just to let you all know,
okay.
Steve had back-to-back clients yesterday afternoon, finishing quite late yesterday evening. So he hasn't been able, and he does the editing. So unfortunately, he hasn't been able to do that yet for yesterday's one. But we are hoping he'll be able to catch up a little bit today. And yeah, we've both been incredibly busy lately. So this week has been really, really busy with people, meetings and clients and that sort of thing. So, but we'll get it up as soon as we can. So that's good. So you have, it wasn't you.
So I have an update. I tried to do the non-judgement thing.
Yeah.
And I got a little frustrated because I couldn't do it. It was like every time I try, it was like so constant that I forget I'm not going to do that. And so then I started doing the sending the love and appreciation for the things that were not going right.
Good.
If somebody didn't do anything, first I started with me saying like, I love the fact that you can be judgmental, and then I love the fact that somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do, they didn't wash the dishes, and I love the fact that I don't want to be dealing with this virus. So kind of like I was just loving everything, and I was able to do that.
Well
so
done.
That
is such a great example. That's perfect. And thank you for sharing that as a reminder for everyone as well. So that, whatever comes up, I love that. I love that. And you can even get, like I used to get a little stubborn about it. So, well, I love it.
Yeah, I love that. I feel that worked better than trying not to be judgmental.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Okay, very, very good. Well done. And so regarding the letter, so what happened when you tried to do it? So when you say you couldn't do it, what happened when you tried?
No, I didn't try to do letter because no.
Oh, I
didn't.
That then.
No, it's just trying not to be judgmental.
Oh,
like
it was
I started trying to not in my mind not to be so critical in my mind and complaining that they didn't do this, you need to do that, somebody didn't. So I was being judgmental like every second.
Oh, that's where I got judgment. I was thinking due justice. Yes.
No, yeah. So I decided, let me just do the love part, and then I was able to do that one.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, excellent. Thank you for that. Perfect example. And did you have any questions for today, Wanda?
No.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. And so now I'm going to go to the chat. So someone says, fantastic. Yesterday's session was fantastic. Can't wait for the video replay so I can do the weight food meditation. Yes. So we're sorry about that, the delay on that one, but we will get that up hopefully today. And beautiful. Very good. Oh, and that's it. Oh, we thank you for all you do. That's lovely. Thank you. And Not sure what that means, but yes. I know. I wrote something here for myself to remind me. I came up with this phrase this morning. Steve and I were talking, and it just came out of my mouth. And I often say to Steve, does that sound as good outside of my head as it does inside my head? So sometimes I don't know. But see if this is useful for any of you. And it's with regards to references, so things that you feel are holding you back, or anything at all, something that you experience. And I came up with the phrase: find it, love it, change it, in that order. So you find it, so you find the feeling or the reference from childhood or whatever it is, you find it, then you love it. So the love is the next stage. So you get into that state of unconditional love. Send love to whatever it may be. And if you know what it is, that's fine. You can send it to that. If you don't know what it is, have the intention that you're sending that love to whatever it may be. Good, because your subconscious knows what it is. So you find it, then you love it, and then you change it, because then it's easier to change it. And you do want to change it. So I'm going to give you an example. Something actually that came up quite recently for me that I wasn't aware of was I know what it was. I identified that I have this compulsion to understand. So if somebody is, being mean, or they're doing something that seems incongruous, or there's something, whatever it is, or something's unfair, I have this overwhelming drive to understand. So I want to ask them the questions. I want to say, okay, but so what about this, and how, and why, and and all of that. And I said to Steve, there's something there, because it's a very strong, it's not just like, oh, I'm curious or I'm interested. It's like, I need to understand. And so I looked for it in my childhood, and I've changed my pretty much my whole childhood. But of course, there are things that are hidden, that we only uncover sometimes as we go. And something that I experienced when I was about 3 years old, my father disappeared. He left, and we were told that he was working and that he would come back. And of course, he never did. And so one of the big things for me with money was changing that, where my dad, because money for me, every time I was expecting money and then it wouldn't turn up, and it was that kind of thing. So I've changed that. So my dad now, in my childhood, he's there. I've put him in my whole childhood. And my dad is in my life now, by the way. We found him. he's living in Vegas, and he's lovely, and we keep in contact and that. So that, as an adult, that's all lovely. But I thought, so this feeling of needing to understand, and it was actually Steve pointed out, perhaps there was that feeling of not understanding why your dad wasn't there. And suddenly this scene came to my mind of being in boarding school as a teenager. And I remember thinking, I don't understand, if he loves us, how is it possible for him to not at least check up on us, find out how we're doing? It doesn't make sense. And I remember that it's the same feeling that I have now sometimes with technology as well. Like, I can't understand why it doesn't work. So I can't understand how a person can love their child and just disappear, not even try and find out. So he must be dead, or he must not, I can't be lovable. He must not love me. So my little brain kind of took that assumption. So I'd found it, and then I loved it. So then I sent love to the whole, the fact that me in boarding school, the fact that he left, everything that it means, even if he didn't love me, all of that, I flooded the whole thing with unconditional love. And then, of course, changed it very quickly to now he's the stepping stone. He sat down with me at boarding school. I put him in that scene, and he explains to me, and he's very apologetic, and he says, I do love you. I just couldn't get there. And I created it that he was he didn't have, he was somewhere that didn't have any way of communicating, that kind of thing. So there's a good reason for it. And then of course I changed it further where he's there all the time. So this is a really good example as well of when you think you've changed something, but there's a little bit left. So when you've changed it, and then later, if something comes up where you think, but I thought I changed that, it's important to recognize that it's not that it didn't work. And it's not that you did anything wrong or you didn't change it. It's just you missed a spot that you couldn't see at that time. And now you can just change that little bit. So that little bit extra. So I had changed the whole thing, but that piece in boarding school and the piece of it not making sense, that bit I hadn't changed. That's a piece of data that hadn't been changed, and now it's changed. So I hope that helps everyone as well to show a real life recent example of how that kind of thing can work. So find it, love it, change it. All right, so hopefully that helps. And we've got some chats here. These calls have been so beneficial for me. It helps with keeping the momentum of the love energy in a constant state. That is wonderful to hear. Thank you. And thank you, Lisa. And well done for coming to them, for being here, because you know, we love doing this, we love helping people, and we love providing this kind of thing. But of course, the tricky bit is for people to actually take the action and do it. And there's, you know, natural human resistance to it. And that, so we really are very, very proud of all of you for being consistent and lasting this long to be able to get the benefits. Yay for you. And thank you for sharing that. Next one is, any suggestions on how to get started with changing the childhood memories? I am really using the unconditional love, but I'm procrastinating on finding the memories I need to change. That's a very good question. And I know that we've said, you know, we won't go into too much of the childhood memory stuff here in these sessions, but I will give you the answer to that, because I think that it will help others as well. So the first, and you know, the more, as we work with more and more clients, we keep improving and changing what we're doing and making it stronger, and we keep honing in and finding new ways of improving it. And so just now it's popping into my head with this find it, love it, change it. I think that the answer to that question is, so you're using the unconditional love. So step one is send that unconditional love to your entire childhood first. So just get into your superpower state, and then imagine just flooding the whole of your childhood, whatever's there, whatever it is. So you don't need to remember any details. You can just have that intention. I fill my whole childhood with this love. I love everyone and everything, starting with myself, you know, the little you. Make sure you're filling the little you first with that love, and then allow it to radiate out, fill the whole thing. So that's step one, and that will pre-pave, that will make changing the memories easier. Then step two on where to start with the childhood memories is, there's two ways of doing this. The first way that we were using before is, how do I know I have a problem? How does that feel, and where in my childhood did I feel it? So you can use that and change memories that way. Or what we've been using more now, the way we kind of took it to the next level, is start at the beginning and just create a whole new childhood. So start with, I was born to these wonderful parents. Imagine your parents being loving, and that as you try and do that, you'll notice things come up to contradict it. So as you think, like in my case, okay, so my parents, they were in love and they were so excited when I was born, and then immediately my conscious mind goes, no, they fought all the time, and your dad left when you were 3, you know. So then you change that bit. So now imagine if he didn't leave, and you use the technique that we teach to bring the emotions down to be able to change it. So because what we like to do, less archaeology and more focusing on the end result, which is a whole new childhood. So less digging around looking for negative stuff, because as you're digging around looking for the negative ones, you're firing those neural connections and pumping stress chemicals into your system, and you're making them stronger. So sometimes you have to do that to change them, but we like to do less of that and more focusing on the whole new childhood, creating those references. So the aim is the ideal childhood, and then of course when you need to, you go back and change your parents' childhoods and your grandparents' childhoods, because if they'd had different childhoods, they would have been different adults and different parents and grandparents. And so that's the aim, and then you just change anything that contradicts that. So as it comes up, you change it next, and so on. So you can take your time, you can do it chronologically like that, or you can do it according to topic, which is asking those questions. So I hope that helps. But let us know if you need more information on that. I have that too, and I'm absolutely driven to understand something. Yes. I have a situation where I likely will never know or get any answers, so it is driving me nuts. Oh, I know that feeling well. It seems so unfair emotionally to not have answers. So I come up with my own answers, which of course are probably not right. So it drives me crazy. Oh, I so understand. I can't tell you how well I understand that. Here's what helped me is the superpower. So because I also had quite a lot, as an adult that didn't make sense and that I couldn't, and in fact, just recently I've had something similar to you, where it's someone very close to me, someone I love, and I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know why they are the way they are. And I can feel that pull to go down the route of wondering and worrying and trying to sort it, trying to make it, trying to help, trying to make it. And I remind myself and I pull back and I get into the state of unconditional love. So it's pulling out a little bit and becoming the observer, getting into that state of unconditional love, and then sending that to them exactly as they are, whether they change or not, no matter what happens. And the funny thing is that I do that for a day or two, and sometimes they contact me soon after that. So and they're going through whatever their stuff is, and I can't make that change. We can only offer and be there and maintain our state of unconditional love and fill them with that love as much as we can. And then at least we're doing something. When we can't do anything physically, we can't do anything with, communication and that, but we can do it on that level. So I hope that helps. That really is so exactly as they are, whether it makes sense or not. And it can be tricky, but it's practice. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I hope that helps. Wow, that's great advice, Odille. Awesome. Good. You're very welcome. Less archaeology. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. I have the needing to understand also. And I think maybe more of us have that than I realized, because from a child's perspective, nothing makes sense a lot of the time, and so we are, from children, trying to make sense of things. And usually with children, what happens is it must be my fault. It must be about me, because it doesn't make sense otherwise, because, so I think that program is there for a lot of us. So the superpower is a great antidote to that. I think I will visualize having my day in court because I have lots to say. Good job. Yes, definitely do that. That's a good exercise. I'm processing a lot since yesterday, so I'm taking a tiny break, just listening today. Love you all. Very good. Thank you for that as well. And yes, so let's see, are there any other questions or targets to aim at or anything? And anybody, of course, who doesn't have their camera on, who I haven't checked in with, if you can either unmute yourself or you can pop it in the chat if you have questions or anything. And Kara?
Just wondering how often and for how long you should practice childhood memories.
Good question. Yes, very good question. So what we recommend is practice them as long as, in the same way you would a new phone number. So, when you get a new phone number, you have to repeat it until it's in your, or in my case, as a new resident in America, your social security number. It's taken me a while to do that. And so you practice it until it's in your head. and until you don't have to think about it anymore. And when you need it, it's just there. It's already there. So with childhood memories, that's what I recommend. And it's different for different people. So, and it's different for different memories. So some memories, you may just need to practice them, a couple of times, and then it's established, and you know that it's there. Others may take a little longer. So the example I gave yesterday of that, me waking up in the morning, sitting in bed at night with my parents reading bedtime story, and that whole scenario from the bedtime story through to waking up in the morning, through to walking into the kitchen and them going, there she is. That whole scenario, I practiced that every morning and evening. So morning, first thing, as soon as I was aware I was awake, I got into the superpower state and ran through that just once. And then during the day, whenever I thought of it, I just, while I was doing other things, I just, played it in my head. And then at night, as I was falling asleep, superpower state, and I played it through once. And I did that for probably about a week. And the reason I did it for that long and that frequently was because I felt like it was a big jump. That had been a big piece of my childhood that was new, that was foreign to, none of any of that was familiar to me growing up. So I can tell you that was a whole new, that was like a movie, I've seen it in a movie somewhere. It was that kind of thing. So that's why I made sure that I practiced it until. So now when I think of my childhood, that's there. And that's how I know it's established. So it's when you think of, so like, for example, if you've changed your school, something to do with your school experiences, then as you go about your day, so you practice it, and then when you think of school, is that the first thing that comes to your mind? If it is, that's great. You don't need to practice it anymore. It's established. Does that help to answer that?
It does. I was also thinking of like how long per day, because I was feeling like, okay, I have to sit down and spend an hour with this piece list, these memories, and I don't really look forward to it.
Yeah, no. And one of the things that I made this decision before I even came across all of this kind of work was, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. Yeah. And if I have to do it, then I'll find a way to make it fun. Now, changing childhood memories, practicing childhood memories should not be a chore. It should not feel like, oh, I have to do this, I don't want to do it. So definitely shorten it, and, do it while doing other things. So you don't have to sit down and dedicate the time to that. So one of the ideas is, and I think is someone in our community came up with this, with the superpower, but you can do it with your childhood, practicing childhood memories as well, is while you're watching TV, whenever there's a commercial break, play a childhood memory. When you make a cup of tea or a coffee or whatever, just think about, while you're waiting for the coffee machine or the kettle, just think about daydream. So it's daydreaming more than I have to sit and do this, because then it can feel like homework in school, it can feel like that kind of thing, and it shouldn't do. And while brushing your teeth, I can't tell you how useful it is while brushing your teeth, because you're standing there brushing your teeth, you can choose where your mind goes while you're doing that. So you can do it, brush your teeth mindfully. That's also good, actually be in the moment, feel the brush and all of that. Or you can use it to practice superpower, or to run through new childhood memories, or to practice a touchstone. So I would say integrate it into your life, and that makes it much less of a chore and much more enjoyable, which means your brain will assimilate it more easily and faster as well.
When you're on hold, with the cable.
Exactly, that's the perfect time. That's a very good point. Sorry, Steve.
I was just going to say that the more of this work that you do, and the way that we incorporate all of this, is it's not about just changing the random memories. It really is about completing and creating an entire new timeline.
Right.
So for me, I feel like I'm in the process of creating this new motion picture, or this new stage production of my life. So it's going back and rewinding the story, replaying the story. So I will intentionally, like when I'm out doing a walk, or I'll incorporate it as part of my meditation. It's like, okay, I'm just going to run the story of my grandparents, their story, that I've changed on the new timeline, and just see it like a movie. And I know that Odille and I, are fortunate that we have each other and we are engaged in this work, but, like telling each other the new stories is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
So I know that there are, I've got some clients that are engaged. One of my clients, her husband isn't actively doing the work, but he's supportive enough that she's able to tell him her new stories. And he's now getting excited about that. And he's like, oh, that sounds really fun. I'm going to start changing my mother's childhood too. And now they're sharing those stories. And I think, our subconscious, it doesn't understand the difference between imagination and reality. It's taking that information in. I know of another client that recorded her stories,
Yes.
her new memories, and then just listened back to them. So hearing them, is also a powerful way of doing that too.
That's right. And as you've been talking, Steve, I just come up with another idea. I don't know if it's something that will fly or not, but I've just come up with the idea of creating a Facebook group where it's just for new memories, so that everyone knows that everything in this Facebook group is about rewrites, is coming from rewriting, and where you can share, my grandparents were, successful investors, and and that might be useful for people. We can see, and you can share with each other, which means that you can read other people's. It gives you ideas. Oh yeah, I can use that.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah,
that might be a good idea, right?
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
I
very
love the idea of the movie.
Yes, yes.
Resonates with me. And I was in a group, a support kind of group once, where no one knew each other because we just came together for this seminar, I guess like a workshop. So what we were told to do is to introduce ourselves with the way we wish we were.
Ah, nice.
And so we didn't know what was real, which was good. So we could see each other and reflect that back to each other.
Fantastic. And I'll tell you what else that would be useful for is to catch any resistance to doing that. Because as you said that, I thought, yeah, you know what? A few years ago, I would have had resistance to doing that.
Yeah.
I would have felt like, no, but they need to know, they need to know how bad things are so that they can help me or something, So that would be good to identify those kind of programs as well. Very good. Thank you, Kara. Fantastic. And so now we've had another question here in the chat. If you create a new childhood, will you forget the one you remember one day? And what if you talk to your relatives and they would remember your childhood as it was? Should you talk to them about the new created childhood, and should you write about your childhood on a piece of paper? Okay, those are very good questions. Thank you. And they're a lot of people have those questions. So the first question: if you create a new childhood, will you forget the one the old one day? It depends on whether you want to or not. So you're changing the information in the subconscious, and the conscious mind can tell the difference between reality and imagination. That's one of the benefits of the conscious mind. The subconscious can't tell the difference. So, for example, I have changed my whole childhood, and I mean completely. I mean, I didn't even grow up in the same country anymore. So the houses, everything is completely different. Now, when I think of my childhood, I go immediately to that new childhood that is wonderful. However, if I have to answer any questions, I can give you I can give you the real, what originally happened. So I can tell you that I was born into a circus family, that, I grew up in South Africa, and there was a lot of moving around, and I can tell you all of the actual, the real history. But I don't think about any of that unless I have to talk about it, you know, and unless I'm giving an example or someone asks me, or as you pointed out, if I'm talking with my brother or, you know, family members or people who know me from that time. Now, it's about staying in the driver's seat. So it can be tricky to begin with, where so when my mum was still alive, this is what I experienced with her, especially when she was living with me, because so my mum was very, you know, proud of the family history and the struggle and all of that. I had changed it all in my subconscious, but I was still interacting with my mum, who was still talking about, you know, the old days. And I just separated it in my mind the way we do with movies. So when you go and see a movie, you know that the movie's not real, so you don't buy into it. And that is how, when my mum was talking about the struggle and how, you know, bad things were and all that, in my mind, I had my new childhood. I was thinking of my new childhood, but I respected what she was talking about. So I wasn't trying to make her stop. I wasn't feeling threatened by that. It might make me lose my, you can hold that state, and it takes a little practice, but that's the way. So that's one way. Or you can imagine that the person, you know, is talking about a dream they had or a movie they had, or that they, you know, they haven't got their, you know, they think you're Elvis. So you can use whatever technique will help you to maintain that state of holding that new childhood, but still respecting that person's perspective. So you don't have to change them in order for you to have your new childhood. So I hope that makes sense, and that it's not too convoluted, but I hope that makes sense. So so as for talking to them about the new childhood, it depends on who it is and how open they are. So for example, my sister, I can, you know, we've created new childhood together. She's doing the same thing we're doing, so it all makes sense. In fact, she was doing it long before we even came across it. She'd already done it for herself. But with my mum, for example, I wasn't doing that, because I know, you know, I told her that that's what we do, but it wasn't what she you know, what she wanted to do, and that was absolutely okay. So with her, I didn't talk about the new childhood. With my sister, I did. So it depends on who it is. The most important thing is that you hold your own state, and then you can, you know, adjust according to who you're speaking to. So I hope that helps. And then the final question there was, and should you write about your childhood on a piece of paper? So you can, and in fact, you know, you can have a journal and write the new childhood in the journal. I actually don't. I have done. So there have been times where I've written my new childhood memories, but just the way my brain is, I have it in my head. I practice a few things. I don't have a lot of detail. So I know that when I think of the new childhood, the new house I grew up in, the house I grew up in, my new childhood with the swimming pool and everything, the picture is there in my head. So I haven't written it down just because I've got it in my head. But for different people, it's different. And like Steve said earlier, some people speak it, either maybe they write it and then read it, or they just tell it into their phone on a recording and then listen to it. So whatever works for you, and it may be a combination of things. Steve?
And, you know, I was just going to say that the act of writing it down, we know that scientifically there's some research that shows that it actually kind of sets that in your brain a little bit more by actually physically writing it down as opposed to typing it.
Right.
And I know if you're somebody like me who's very visual, and I noticed that somebody else put something in the chat similar to this, you know, either you're creating some artwork around it. For me, it's just having the visual. So when I go back and I look at and I am somebody that writes down my stories. So I just kind of will sit down occasionally with my journal, and I don't even necessarily read the entire story. It's like I have the visual of it, and I'm automatically back there. So it's almost like the activity of flipping through an old photo album. It's like you just have the picture is there, and it's like, oh, I remember that. And it's like the whole scene is right there.
That's it. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes. So do what feels that it works for you, and you can combine it, you know, use different things, change it according to what works for you. Fantastic. And so there's a I'm pushing a buggy in the sun. Thanks to all, really helpful, great material. I'll be with you on Saturday. Wonderful. We're so looking forward to seeing you then. So Saturday, for anybody who's interested, is our full day online workshop for changing childhood memories specifically. The next one, I would imagine that my subconscious doesn't want me to change, so that so that is likely why I am feeling like it is a bit of a battle to do the work consistently. Yes, and that is, and you're not alone in that. That is a very you know, that's part of our human, the way we're designed. Subconscious tries to keep us from doing core changes, so it'll let you change to a certain extent, but when you get too close to transforming, it will try and do whatever it can to keep you safe. And the answer to that, number one, is the superpower. So, you know, being in the superpower state as much as possible. Who was it this morning that was talking about loving? Wanda. What Wanda was saying about, you know, loving whatever comes up. So as you feel that resistance to doing the work, to changing the memories or doing whatever the work, love it. Love that. I love that resistance. I love the fact that I don't want to do it. You know, so that it helps to diffuse that feeling and then gently move forward anyway, but in that state of love. As soon as you lose the state of love, do whatever it takes to get back into it rather than trying to force yourself to do the work with the memories. All right, so hopefully that helps. I drew pictures with color crayons, like when I was a kid. Oh, lovely. And that helped get in that state of childhood memories and think about it often throughout the day. Super fun. That's beautiful. That is a wonderful idea. Yes, I love that. I want a box of crayons now. So I can do that. I love those. I love having, because we never had, you know, the big ones with all the colors. We had kind of secondhand ones. So I still want to get myself a box of those crayons. And that's a lovely idea. Thank you for sharing that. Love that idea. Good question. Very good. Always looking for praise from partner. I'm curious about this one. Where do I go for answers? It seems to be necessary for me to get 100% that he likes the outfit I've chosen. And again, that's something else I can identify with. And my mum was like that too. You know, she'd say such an idea, and you go, oh, that's great. And she'd go, you don't like it. No, I just said it was great. But it's because of that needing, and the reason for that is because it's not about getting it now, it's about the child needing it. So when you're in that situation where, let's say you've got the outfit and your partner is not, it doesn't seem to be, you know, it doesn't respond the way you would like him to respond. So you're not getting that 100% that you mentioned there. In that moment, mentally take a step back, take a deep breath, and go to the child in you and reassure her. Tell her she's perfect, exactly as she is, and you love her, and give her a hug. And in your case, have your mum there telling that little you how perfect she is, how she's perfect exactly as she is, and she's beautiful, and everything that little you needed to hear. Do that right in that moment. Then come back to the present, and you'll come back from a different perspective. And then you may still want some more information, but then you will be in an empowered state. So it will be more likely where you will say, okay, thank you for that. And what do you think specifically about such and such? Rather than feeling like, you know what I mean? It won't be emotional. It will be more strategic. Does that help? Good. Very good. All right. And so I see Steve has already answered that. So that's good. You've got a double answer there. Good job. Thank you you're very welcome, sweetheart. And so let's do the work. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and get into your superpower state. either by using your word or your phrase, or by practicing the exercise, however you get into that state. Feel your heart opening, feel that expansion in your heart, that light or energy shining out from you. Feel your heart expanding. And feel that light or energy going down to your toes, up to the top of your head and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that beautiful light, that energy. Love each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each one just for existing. Very good. And now imagine the little you, fill that little you with that same love, that light, that energy, just for existing. Beautiful, perfect child. And imagine that light or energy expanding from you and the little you and filling the whole room you're in. Feel that stretch, feel that expansion, like an angel stretching their wings. Feel that energy, that power stretching out from you, expanding. Very, very good. And now let's send that light or energy to Boguslawa and feel it filling her from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. So she's now full of that light, that energy, that love. Love Boguslawa just for existing. Very good. Now imagine that light or energy overflowing from Boguslawa and filling her son from the tips of his toes to the top of his head and out to his fingertips, and then forming a beautiful, powerful, energetic hazmat suit around him, protecting him. And love him just for existing. Very good. Now let's go to Katrina and fill Katrina with that same love, that light, that energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. So she's full of that light, that energy, that pure, unconditional love. Love Katrina just for existing. Very good. And now imagine that light or energy overflowing from Katrina and filling her partner from the tips of his toes to the top of his head, out to his fingertips, so he's full of that love, that light. Love him just for existing. Very, very good. And now let's go to Kara. Imagine Kara being filled with that same light, that energy, that love, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. So she's full of that light, that energy, that pure, unconditional love. Love Kara just for existing. Very, very good. And now to Caro. And imagine Caro being filled with that same light or energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. Fill Caro with that same light or energy and love Caro just for existing. Pure, unconditional love. Very good. And now on to Wanda. And imagine Wanda being filled with that same love, that light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. So she's now full of that beautiful energy, that light. Love Wanda just for existing. Good job. And now onto Lisa. And fill Lisa with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. Pure, unconditional love. Very, very good. And now fill Carrie with that same light or energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head, out to her fingertips. Pure, unconditional love. Love Carrie just for existing. Good job. And now to everyone who's on this call who don't have their cameras on, so all those who are incognito today, send that same love, that light, that energy. Fill each of them from the tips of their toes to the top of their head, out to their fingertips, with that light, that energy, that pure, unconditional love. Love each one just for existing. Good job. And now send that light, that energy, that love to your childhood. Imagine your whole childhood being filled with that beautiful, unconditional love. See that little you filled with that unconditional love, and notice how powerful that little thing is. See that energy, that light shining out from that little you, surrounding you, protecting you, and filling everything and everyone around you with that same love, that light, that energy. Very good. And now thinking about you later today, imagine you later today and love that version of you with that same love, light, that energy, from the tips of that version of you's toes to the top of the head and out to the fingertips. Love you just for existing, perfect exactly as you are. Very, very good. And you can open your eyes. And how was that for everyone? Good. Very good. So unmute yourself, or let us know if you've got any questions or comments, or you pop them in the chat. Thank you, Caro. That's the first time I've seen that used, actually, that thumbs up thing. Very nice. Fantastic. I like that. Good job. All right. So super powerful. Good. Lovely. Thank you. You're very welcome. Fantastic. And Katrina, yeah.
Yes, I just want to say, yeah, that was super powerful.
Oh,
And
good.
yeah, and I'm so, so grateful. The little girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very good. Yay. I'm so glad. You're very, very welcome. It is literally my pleasure. And, you know, as you've probably all discovered, that as we fill someone, you know, when we're being filled with it, it's amazing. It's wonderful. And then when you go from that to sending, I've got waves of goosebumps as I'm saying this. When you go from that to sending it to someone else, it just amps it up even more. So I'm thrilled that we have so many attending these things as well, because it gives a lot of really nice practice there. Yay, I'm so glad, and thank you so much for sharing that, sharing your experience of that. We so appreciate hearing how things work for you, because of course that helps us to keep going and you know, keep moving forward and creating more and that kind of thing. Yay. All right then, so have a wonderful rest of your day and this evening. Keep up the momentum as much as you can. Someone says, I've seen everyone with me playing as children and coloring. Yes, I love that, Lisa. So that's a great idea. So imagine all of us as children playing together. That's a beautiful, beautiful idea. this sharing together really is so fantastic. Yes. And this is why I love, Steve does all our one-to-one work. He works with all our clients one-to-one, and he loves that. And I don't mind it, but I love groups because of this connection between each other. I love the support. I love the benefits that everyone gets from everyone else, and the feeling of togetherness. So this is me in my element. So, all right. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you same time tomorrow. Keep practicing, keep doing it. You're doing brilliantly, all of you. Lots of love to all of you. Bye-bye now.